Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. So in today's video is very important, and if you know anyone, if you know anyone that has a Canada visitor's visa in their passport, you should share this video because it's going to be very useful for them. So guys, so today's video is about getting your study permit in just 7 days. And when I say 7 days, from between 7 days and 12 days. I have proof, so I'm not just talking from because I want to make a video. I'm talking from experience. I'm talking from people that have actually written to me that they wanted to apply for study visa in Canada because that was the route I took. So I'm talking from experience because I have proof. I have proof of approvals from these people in Canada, and I would like to share with you guys. And also I'll be giving tips at the end of this video on how you can apply and get approved. So guys, stay tuned. Okay, so as we all know, study visa is now like limited, and they have a number of people that they actually issue study visa to right now. And if you are outside of Canada, there's a limit, and once the immigration reaches that limit, they won't accept any study permit anymore. So this is the trick. For those of you that have a visitor's visa and you are back home in your country, wherever you are, either Nigeria, wherever you are, and you have this visa in your passport, but then you are still trying to apply for study permit from your country, my guy, study permit from outside of Canada takes a long time. Like, you will be waiting for 2 months, 3 months to get an approval. Meanwhile, with that your visa, you can come into Canada and get approval within 7 days, 7 to 14 days. So someone reached out to me on YouTube. He watched my video and then he reached out to me and said, Evelyn, I'm in Canada. I'm also a visitor, and I would like to study while I'm here. And can you please just like put me through the process? And I was like, sure. So I told him how he can do the application and gave him some tips. When I mean tips, like what he really needs to put in that application to get him an approval. And within 8 or 9 days, he reached out to me and he was like, Evelyn, I've gotten an approval. And I said, wow, that was so fast, because mine took 2 weeks. I applied also in Canada. Mine took 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks or 13 or 12 or 13 days. That was my time frame for my study permit approval. I'm going to attach it to this video. And it was approved. And then later on, another person wrote me on my YouTube. She was like, my brother, he wants to study in Canada and is here as a visitor, and I would like him to apply for visiting visa. And I told her that I have so many videos. I have videos on my page on how you can apply for study permits in Canada. I told her, and just recently she wrote me. She was like, Evelyn, thank you so much. We followed your video and my brother got his approval. Now again, there was this man that wrote me on YouTube. He sent me an email and I reached out to him, and he was like, my wife, I want to apply. All this thing I'm saying, I'm going to put proof so that you will know that I'm saying the truth. I'm not joking. I'm not lying. So he reached out to me and he was like, my wife wants to study. We are here as visitors and she wants to study. I would like you to help me review my statement of purpose and tell me how to go about the application. I told him how to go about the application, but because as at the time that he told me to review his statement of purpose. I was so busy, so I told him that I won't be able to read your statement of purpose because I'm very busy, but I have mine in my YouTube video, so you can just go through it and do some corrections. And then recently again, this guy sent me a message. I'm like, Evelyn, thank you so much. My wife got an approval and I would like you to help us with how to go about flag polling. So why am I saying this? You might be in Nigeria, you might be in wherever that you are, and you are struggling to get a study permit. All you have is a visiting visa in your passport. Why not come with your visiting visa? I remember when I wrote to someone, I was in Nigeria, and I wrote to the person, I'm like, do you think I can come into Canada and apply for study visa from inside Canada? The person said, no, it's not possible, it's not possible, you know, it's not possible. And then I came in, got admission, and applied. And within 2 weeks, I got my approval. So now, why am I making this video? It pains me a lot that I'm making this video now. I should have made this video earlier on. So if you're watching this video, it is time to get up and start your process. I'm making this video because next year by February, the government of Canada is going to review this applying for study visa as a visitor in Canada. They are going to review it. It was reviewed, I think, was it last year or 2 years ago? And so it's going to expire in February. So if you know you have your visiting visa, it is now, like when I say now, either in September intake or January, because in February, this process is going to end, and I'm not sure that the government is going to extend it anymore, because they are looking for a way to like end, like not totally end immigration, but like just put an hold to immigrations. So if you know you have your visiting visa and you're struggling, you're still struggling to get study permits or study visa from your country, you have this visiting visa laying there. You have to come into Canada like now. Like now that you're watching this video, come now. So what are the tips that I'm going to give to you? Tip number 1, when you are applying, because when you're applying for your study visa, you have to apply as though you are in Nigeria. Because if you want to apply as though you're in Canada, you have to have done like a prerequisite course. There are some prerequisite courses that you will do that will not enable you to like apply as though you are in Canada. But when you get your admission and you do not do any prerequisite courses, then you will have to apply as though you are in Nigeria. So when you're doing the process, you are applying as if you're in Nigeria, but you're in Canada. But note, the address that you are going to put is your Canada address. Wherever they ask you for address, do not put Nigeria address. Make sure to let the visa officer know that you are in Canada, because you are in Canada, so they cannot reject you. They cannot tell you that, okay, you have been refused. Because if most people, when they are refused, most of them go and maybe seek asylum or do something else. So the government does not want that. So when you are in Canada and you're doing this application, you are applying as though you are in Nigeria. But then all your addresses, wherever they ask for address, make sure to put your Canada address. That is tip number 1. Tip number 2. Recently, a lady wrote me. She was actually the first person that I've ever heard that got refusal in Canada. She wrote me and she was like, I recently got refusal. And I was like, how is that possible? And then I started asking her questions. I asked her a lot of questions, and then it got to me like, and I asked her that, did you use any Canadian bank statement for your visa? She said no, that it was only a Nigeria bank statement. And I'm like, oh no, you got it wrong. So that is tip number 2. Tip number 2, make sure that you use a Canadian bank statement. I know what I'm telling you. Make sure to use a Canadian bank, even if it's $1,000 that is in that bank statement. Or if you are using your Nigeria own, you have a lot of money in your Nigeria account. But even though that Canadian bank statement, you won't attach a Canadian bank statement, even though you have $500 or $1,000 in it, attach it. Attach it. I know what I'm saying. Attach it. Everybody that have written to me, this is the tip I give to them. Like recently, the guy I was talking about that is a Ghanaian. He reached out to me about this study and all that. So he had already submitted his application. So he reached out to me, was like, oh, Evelyn, I've submitted my application. And I asked him, did you add your Canadian bank statement? He said, no, I didn't add it. I said, add it now. Add it now. So he raised a web form and then he added his Canadian. I think he had about $2,000 in his Canadian account. So he added it. He raised the web form, he added it, and he got his approval. So guys, those are my 2 strongest tips that I usually give to my followers on YouTube. And I hope you apply this tip, and I hope to see you in Canada soon. Bye.